If you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me explain. It's free. There's creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. Anchor will distribute your podcast for you so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcast, and many more. You can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. Download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started today.
How hard is it for you to accept who you are? Do you look in the mirror and see something that others don't? Who are your role models for how you want to look? Tonight, we discuss body image, self-esteem, and much more on Real Girlfriends Across America when we talk about how good can I look?
Well, hello, everyone, and welcome to the Real Girlfriends Across America podcast. I am Annie, and I'm your host tonight. Real Girlfriends Across America is a company that has a foundation and mission to build lifelong friendships with women across the globe. We are broadcasting this podcast Sunday through Thursday at 6 p.m. Pacific Time and 9 p.m. Eastern Time. We always want to hear from you. We're always looking for fresh topics to discuss. Tonight, I've got Destiny, Corinne, and Tawanda on the line with me, and we're going to talk about some self-esteem and body image issues and what all that kind of means. So first, I would like to start with Destiny. Some of the factors that I looked up and I saw that lead to people to have bad body image and low self-esteem include health issues, depression, trauma from your past, eating disorders. Is there anything else, Destiny, that you can add to that, or do you have anything specifically that has led to your struggles with self-esteem and body image?
I have definitely being in a wheelchair. I have my weight issue. But also for me, I struggle with self-esteem and body image, just, because I can't see. So it's a daily struggle for me every single day.
Well, you know what? I have to tell you how much I appreciate every time that you call in and how honest you are. I'm a pretty honest person myself, so I respect that in you. And I appreciate you being able to share these things with people because it does make a difference. There's a lot of people out there that think they can't do things, and it's awesome that you help us out with that. What about you, Tawanda?
What? What'd you say? What'd you say? I'm so sorry. Hold on.
I was like, what is that?
Thing?
Yeah, what is that? Like, oh, what's that? What language is that?
I'm so sorry. My TV it talks to me since I can't see it. So,
tell her to go on mute.
Go off.
I thought I was losing my mind for a minute there. Okay. So, anyways, Tawanda, I want you to tell me about a situation that, like, a boss or another person, an individual, made you question your self-esteem and lowered your self-worth. Is there somewhere in your past or a good story you can tell us that happened to you?
Absolutely. I remember when I was and everything is about growth, maturity, and associations. I remember when I was in the 5th grade, there was this girl that used to bully me. And I used to be really, really skinny when I was younger. She's like, you're skinny, you're black, and you're ugly. And she used to bully me, and I was the school I went to at the time had 5th and 6th grade. She bullied me the whole year, and I used to just go in the corner and just cry privately. And then when the school year ended, my 6th grade year, I was so happy until school got ready to end because I knew I was going to the next grade, and I had a fear of being able to see this girl again. And lo and behold, my 7th grade year, she was in 8th grade, and the school was only 7th and 8th grade. And she began to bully me again. And then she started calling me Alice the Goon and blah, blah, blah. And out of all the people in the school, this is the only person I had bully me. And it made me feel bad about myself. And one day, it definitely must have been God because it sure was me. And she said, hey, Alice the Goon, you're ugly, you're black, you're skinny, da-da-da. And I said, who are you talking to? Because you ain't talking to me. And I just kind of like blew up at her. And she was so shocked and so surprised, but she never bullied me again. But I never liked her. Even over 20 years later, I see this girl, and she was really a very unattractive girl and still is. And I was like, was I letting this girl talk to me like that? But, yeah, it really killed my self-esteem, and it made me wonder, like, am I really what she says and blah, blah, blah? So, yeah, I always hated bullies. I definitely was bullied myself. And, yeah, it messed up my self-esteem and confidence. Absolutely.
I have a question. So in that situation, I mean, I know it was a while ago, but was there one specific thing or a couple of specific things that you changed about yourself because of how bad she made you feel? Like, some people got changed hair.
Oh, yeah, I understand. At that time, I was a coward. So I would say, unfortunately, no. I took it, and I was a coward, and I was embarrassed, and I was ashamed. And then the next year when she went to the 7th grade, I was in the 6th, I was glad that she was going. I never dealt with it. And even after when I was in 7th grade and I kind of blew up at her, I didn't deal with it. I didn't even really understand it because I just thought that, what she said probably was true. And then later when I started having better associations and understanding and wanting to look better and do certain things, then my confidence began to build. But no, unfortunately, I didn't do anything to help myself then other than just blow up at her. And when she left me alone, I was just really so happy. But I didn't really, because I don't think I understood that I needed to or that I could.
That's the hard part. As kids, we don't have the tools to deal with that kind of stuff. So, that's what makes bullying such just a shitty thing, honestly, because most of these kids that get bullied, they don't have anything in their past or history that can help them deal with it. And most of the time, they're so embarrassed by what's going on, and they think they've done something wrong, so they don't even tell people.
So true.
So, Corinne, what about you? Why don't you tell us a story?
I think with me and the self-confidence thing, I think that I was always conflicted just because I would hear I was ugly just as many times as I heard I was pretty. So then after a while, you're like, well, which one is true? And then I remember when I was in middle school, this guy, first this girl went up to me, and she's like, do you think so-and-so is cute? And I'm like, nonchalant. I'm like, yeah, right, nothing wrong with him. So I'm not paying her no attention. And then so she goes and she tells the guy, like, oh, Corinne thinks you're cute. And I was like, I didn't say that. So he comes up to me, because I had very long hair at the time. He's like, if you, and I always wore it in a ponytail. He's like, if you wear your hair out, get contacts. What else did he say? Oh, put some makeup on, and maybe, just maybe, I'll date you.
And you were a freaking kid?
Yeah, we were in middle school.
Wow.
So did you find yourself changing things specifically about yourself because of that, and what was it?
You know what? I all those things is funny or ironic. I guess I have done those things, but before he even said it, I had already was thinking those things. So I needed to do those things or whatever to look better. So when he said it, it was like, okay, well, I already knew that. So it was like whatever. But I guess like with me, it's just a weird thing because like my first profession, I would say, was modeling. So it's very shallow, and everything is based on what you look like. And at the end of the day, sometimes I'm like, it really doesn't matter what I think. It matters about what's going to sell. So,
Right.
yeah, with me, it's conflicting.
Nice. Hey, Destiny, what about you? Do you have a specific story to share with us?
No, I don't have anything specific. I got bullied a lot in school too, of course, because I couldn't see. And I actually made it kind of seem like could, I guess, because I always used to wear little tiny glasses to make me, not so different than everybody else. But
Yeah.
I got called Four Eyes at least 50,000 times a day, and it hurt because eventually I started thinking that I had four eyes, so it hurt. But yeah.
Well, you're a beautiful girl. I promise you that.
Thank you.
So for me, I'll share a little story. The biggest pressure I ever had when I was growing up was from my biological mom. She liked to drink, and she wasn't the nicest person to me. I was a huge overachiever, and it was one of those things where I could never do enough to make her happy. I was senior class president. I always played sports since I was 4. I started soccer when I was 4. I played volleyball, basketball, softball, anything to keep me busy during the seasons and get the hell out of the house for sure. So when I went to college, my first time, my first attempt at college, I was going to play soccer for the college, and I hyperextended my knee 2 weeks into the season, and I ended up being an immobilizer for 3 months. The first 3 months, and it was winter. By the point I got out of it, it was awful. So I gained a lot of weight, and the pressure from, I'd always been so active, the pressure from my mother about that, and then just my self-esteem just went so low because I was my first year in college and I had gained all this weight. I couldn't barely walk around. I was on crutches and so I actually suffered a bout with an eating disorder because of that. The pressure got to me, and I thought that, I don't even know. I can't really tell you what happened or why. But I definitely was fell subject to the binge and purge, and it was a really hard thing to get over. I had to go to counseling for it, but not before. It did a number on my self-esteem for sure. So it's kind of crazy. Like they say, the pressure can always come from parents, from your peers, even the media, culture around us, and then traumatic things from your past, and that's why I think it's so important how we always talk about who you surround yourself with.
Mhm.
Mhm. Mhm. Mhm.
So, being that I'm talking about getting pressure from the media and culture, I'm curious to know what you guys think about the transformation. Do you think that we've shifted in the media to be more acceptable of the not so tiny bodies and the people that are different? I mean, I know that I've seen it. I've seen the difference, but do you think it's enough? Do you think it has really happened at all? What are your thoughts about that, Corinne? Why don't you tell me? Tawanda, are you there?
I am.
What about you, honey? Can
I'm
you
here.
answer that? I think we might have lost Corinne.
Yeah, absolutely. Basically, I think that the media is still the media. It's really up to individual people. Me, myself, like in reference to the story that you just shared, I definitely hate to hear that you went through that, but I also know that you grew through it, and now you're able to talk about it, which is going to be a blessing to someone else. Me, as a woman that's not a size 2, you can look on television, you can look on the media, you can see all these different type of shows. With me, I have to say, hey, be who you are, for one. Be confident and do whatever you got to do, even if you're going to be the source some to stick out. Because, of course, if you look at certain types of shows, you can even look at the real and say, okay, you got this one, and you got the one in the middle. That's the bigger one. Okay, that's what it is. So now that you know that, now what? You understand what I'm saying? After people get a little shocked or something different, then what? So that's what we have to do.